Hi, everybody. Welcome to part 2 of our interview with NSA whistleblower Bill Binney. He's been on the show before. He was with 30 years with the NSA agency. He's considered the top code breaker at the NSA, and he's here to inform us on how investigations should work. And I want to ask you about there is an article in the Daily Beast about how so people like me have been raising concerns. And I said that we'll never, Mike Morrell, former CIA director, deputy director, said that he doesn't think there'll ever be evidence to prove collusion in this whole Russiagate narrative. He said, because if there was evidence of it, it would have already leaked. And since it hasn't already leaked, there isn't any evidence. And since they've been working on it for so long, that means that there isn't ever going to be any evidence.
That's right. Yeah, but
go ahead.
The thing that first got me about it was their declaration in August of 2016, when they said they had high confidence the Russians did it. That told me they were lying. Very simply put, because the only agency that mattered in that whole discussion was NSA. NSA has the wiretaps on all the communications. So if somebody hacked something, they would know it. And it wasn't a question of saying high confidence. Here, they did it, is what they'd have to say.
Okay.
And then they had the evidence. When they say they had high confidence, they don't have any evidence. And then when they issued the ICA, the Intelligence Community Assessment from 3 agencies, NSA, CIA, and FBI, and selected analysts from each of them back in January of 2017, they issued that.
They first said it was 17 organ.
Right, yeah, they claimed that.
That was the big lie. And then the lie got brought down to 3 organizations, the NSA, CIA, and FBI. And then what?
Of those 3 agencies, 2 of them, CIA and FBI, claimed they had high confidence, and NSA said they had moderate confidence. So that told you right away, NSA had no data, and they only went along for the ride with the other 2. And the other 2 were politically involved, as they are now with the as you can see it, with the Steele dossier, how that was paid for by DNC, CIA, and DOJ was involved with that too. Those are the guys who are part of this. And so, I believed, Ray McGovern and I of the VIPs believe that Brennan used the Marble network, Marble program, to make it look like the Russians did the hack to the DNC. And that's what CrowdStrike picked up on. And they thought it was the Russians because of that. Well, they didn't look at the Marble program because it can make it look like that very easily. That's part of that program. That's how, as a part of the deception of the intelligence. I mean, manipulation, disinformation, and deception are all parts of the programs and have been, even before World War II. That's been standard by intelligence community.
And so when Trump says, I don't accept the intelligence community's assessment that Russia did this, and everyone screams treason, that first it made me laugh because it's the exact right. So how did you view that? Because that's not treason.
No,
it's the exact opposite. In fact, it's the president who sets the foreign policy, and it's the president who decides whether he believes our intelligence community or not. And he's the one who is the final. So that was how was that mind blowing for you to see? It was ubiquitous across the media that he had committed treason.
No, well, I said finally somebody's going to tell us the truth. The point is, they never gave him any real evidence. That's the whole point. That's why you said that.
So why do you think he caved in the exact next day when he said the wouldn't? I meant to say wouldn't, but I said would.
Well, because of all the flack he was getting, not just from external people, but like the mainstream media, right? And also, but internally by the intelligence community, even from Congress. They were coming back to, you've got to support your own organization. If you don't, then, how can you work with them? And that's just the wrong way to do business. I look at it this way. When you got a sick patient and they have a problem, you have to fix it. It's like an alcoholic. He has to first admit he's got an alcoholic problem before he can actually address it and fix it. If you don't fix it, it's going to fester and just, continue ad infinitum, and you're never going to be any better.
Okay, so by the way, this is never going to go away. It's not.
No, that's right. I think we discussed this before.
Yeah. So one more time. So there was this article in the Daily Beast. So no, I'd always said there'll never be proof because the FBI never inspected the DNC servers themselves, and they relied on a third party called CrowdStrike, which has a really shady history. In fact, shady history of blaming stuff on the Russians in relation to the Ukraine military. That was debunked. They were completely 100% fabricating that, and it was revealed. And the guy who owns that company has, he has his own interests in this, right? So,
yeah, that's right.
So there was an article in the Daily Beast that everyone is pointing to. Everybody who likes, every bootlicker of the intelligence community is citing, and they're saying that, oh, see, you're lying if you say the FBI didn't inspect their server because the CrowdStrike gave them a digital copy, and that's the gold standard, and everybody's happy. Now that's bullshit. I know that because in that own article, the FBI Comey said that he argued that he wanted direct access, but so now is that article correct, or am I still correct?
No, the article's not correct. You're right. I mean, the point is pretty simple too. In a court of law, take it from a court of law, they have to show continuous control of the evidence. Can the FBI do that? No. Somebody else gave them the evidence. They have no control of that evidence, so it's tainted from the beginning. So you can't introduce it in the court of law and be laughed out of court.
Right. So there's a chain of custody, and it's been broken. Right. I mean, I know that from watching Rockford Files as a kid. I know there's a thing called the chain of custody, and you can't. And if there's a serious crime committed, you can't have a private company investigate it and give their results over to the FBI. That's not going to hold up in court whatsoever, especially a shady. And so, what do you say to people who just accept that, read that article unskeptically, and just repeat it back? It's just propaganda, right?
Yes, it is. I've been saying recently, I cannot account for the numbers of people who are mentally impaired.
Some people get really worked up about it. They get upset that I'm still telling the truth about this, and they want me to shut up and fall in line and go along with this Russiagate and the intelligence community's lies, and I just won't do it because I know you.
Well, it's also how we went into Vietnam and killed a couple million people. For what? Or we went over to Iraq and killed a couple 100,000 more people. For what? All for lies. Now, if they don't mind going around the world killing hundreds of millions or millions and hundreds of thousands of people, fine. But I have a problem with that.
Me too. Yeah, me too. Thanks for watching. Please make sure you're subscribed. Even if you think you are, you're probably not. It only takes a second to check, and then you have to ring that bell so they send you a notification when we drop a new video. Otherwise, they won't tell you when we drop new videos. And if you like our show, please help support it. Become a patron. We give you hours of bonus material every week, and we give a live stream. We do a live stream every Saturday at 2 p.m. Pacific time when you can ask us questions, and we answer them back. Thanks for your support.